That's not going nowhere. It's almost like a joystick, so it moves around a lot. Hey, it's Steven from MikeReynolds.com here, and today I'm talking on and about the SEV7. Cool looking mic. I got to be careful because this is a super cardioid, so if I go off, it dies pretty quick. So a little thing about SE. So SE is a Chinese manufacturer, so Chinese microphone company. And if I remember the story correctly, they partnered with a composer, conductor out of San Francisco, as far as like speccing mics and whatnot. You can fact check me on that; it's all good. But I got introduced to SE in 2018 when I was at NAMM, and actually this is the first mic that the rep actually showed me because it was just sitting there. What's kind of cool, it was sitting there laying flat. If you can't see it from here, but they've got these, flat edges as it goes around the grill of the capsule. So I thought that was like the coolest thing, as far as it not like being able to roll off a table. So of course, naturally, I picked it up and just started talking with him. And it's funny, even though he was here, he was pretty hard to hear because he was in the off axis of this mic. And then the sound of it too. Of course, I have a 58 kind of in my head almost constantly as far as how that should sound. This one definitely doesn't sound like a 58. And what I heard was a mic that could solve a lot of problems, especially for people that have a voice with a lot of sibilance, a lot of high end in it. It typically ends up being a lot of female vocalists. So this mic is ideally made for vocalists in general. They do have drum mic versions of this where they've the V beats where they more or less have cut them off and made little shorties out of them. The V7 comes in all kinds of not form factors, but aesthetic looks. You can get them, I think, all white, all red. The original V7 had this gray grill with the red pop filter on the inside that you can also change out with a black one. Now they finally came out with an all black version, which I need to change out all of ours to black as well. But again, solved a lot of problems. They have a capsule version of this called the MC1. That's for Shure microphones. Well, it's for anything with the 3 rings. So that's like Shure, Sony, Audix, Audio-Technica. It seems like everybody's going that direction except Sennheiser, which is fine. But at least it's got something for everybody to kind of try out. So it was solving a lot of problems during capsule shootouts. But as you can hear, it kind of has a different. I'll put the frequency response chart up so you can see what that looks like. But it has a more kind of smoother response to it. The range, though, the frequency range is a lot. It's on paper, or excuse me, it says it's a lot higher. So it goes up to like 19. That could be kind of tough to hear. I'm going to pick up the 58 here in a second. So this is a dynamic microphone, so you don't need phantom or anything like that. Operates in a super cardioid pickup pattern. It's very similar in sensitivity as to a 58 as well. So as far as like handling SPL and all that stuff, obviously dynamics don't really have a range for that matter, or excuse me, as a max SPL for that matter. They can handle pretty much anything because the electronics aren't getting overloaded as it would on a condenser with extremely loud sounds. So here's the 58. You can kind of hear on the 58 how they always have that boost that's like that 4 to 10K little bump there. Keep in mind though, on the 58, the 58's in a cardioid pattern. So as I turn, it takes a little while for you to go into the off axis. But with the V7, you're there pretty dang quick. Of course, you have some pickup on the very back part of the element itself. Something I was doing just before we started shooting this is I was playing with. See, I got to make sure this doesn't roll off my desk because it doesn't have the flat edges. But I was looking at the suspension. You don't hear as much handling noise. So you can hear that handling noise. It's a lot duller on this, and I'm going to show you why. All right, this is what I think why. So this is not going to sound great. I got to be careful not to bump this thing as I'm taking it off. Oh. Yeah, because there's 2 little contacts there. If you touch them, it makes a nice little fun noise. That is really red. A lot of people take these out because they don't really like the redness of them. They don't want a mic to necessarily attract attention to themselves. That's fine. They always come with a black internal pop screen anyway. So the suspension on this, I'm glad I can still talk on this without a big plosive. I'm trying not to overload this thing, but check out the suspension here. So it's almost like a joystick. So it moves around a lot. If I do that on a 58, which I'm going to, so I'm going to pick up the 58 for a second. Oh, I almost just detached the entire capsule. That's not good. The 58 I can take off and not have as... Yeah, so a 58 is funny. They always look like 57s without the grill on. The suspension is extremely rigid, so you are going to hear a lot more through not so much through the cable, but more for handling noise as well. So, I mean, just look at the difference. That's not going nowhere. Anyway, I always thought that was a cool thing about the SE stuff. Oh boy, that hurts so bad. So again, 58 pretty much has been used forever, pretty much indestructible. Both have capsule versions as well. As I mentioned before, if you didn't know, a little side note on the 58, you can actually get black grills for this, especially it makes sense on like a lot of the wireless stuff as well. I guess in more a fair comparison to the V7, I should have used more of a Beta 58 because the Beta 58 is a super cardioid, but I'm a moron and I didn't do that today. So yeah, hang on. So the V7 got mega popular in 2018. That's always dangerous. A big reason why is because the capsule showed up on the Super Bowl between the Patriots. Unfortunately, lost that one, and and the Eagles. And Justin Timberlake came out on a V7 capsule, and they kind of exploded. Everybody was interested. When I say everybody, if you're in the audio world, everybody was interested in them and wanted to try them. They didn't really. That was the best marketing move they could have ever had, is have their product at a Super Bowl, and there he is right up on it. And sure enough, I mean, we've got a couple of dozen of those capsules, let alone like 3 or 4 dozen of these. So I say give it a try, especially if you got a vocal you're struggling. That can be really shrill. But yeah, that's the SE V7. I think that's all I got on it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next mic.